Hello and welcome to Listening Skills. We did this course live and we decided to record it on YouTube so that people who are at the course can listen again to the examples and sort of get extra practice like that. We also didn't do all of the examples on the day, so obviously you can do the remaining ones. But also for people who didn't attend the course, who couldn't make it, you can play along at home watching the YouTube videos. A huge advantage with the YouTube as well is that you can rewind each clip. So I'm only going to play each example once, but you can pause and rewind and listen to it as many times as you need to before seeing the answer. And even when you've seen the answer, you might think, oh right, that's not what I got. Rewind it, and then having seen the answer, you might be able to listen along and spot where it is. Hopefully you're here because you appreciate how important listening skills are. It's great that you can see who to follow in the tower, if indeed you can, but it's listening that really fine-tunes your striking, and you can hear, if you can hear, that you're too close or too far away and do something about it, then you're going to make your ringing more accurate, nicer to listen to, and more enjoyable to ring because you'll get more satisfaction from it. There's 4 different exercises that we're going to do as part of the course, and they're going to be in 4 separate videos. This one is going to be called Broken Clapper, and I'll just explain how it works. But if you've got one of the course booklets that look like this, and you want to turn to this page for Broken Clapper. If you haven't got this at home, then don't worry. It's not a disaster if you don't have it, because you can just write down the single number. You'll see in the example I do in a minute that you don't need this necessarily written out. You can copy this out if you want, 1 to 6, 1 to 8 and 1 to 10, 5 of each, but equally you can just listen, get your answer and just write down the single digit for this one. But if you've got the booklet, then it's nice to just be able to fill them in. Okay, so let me show you how it works. I'm going to play some ringing, and you're going to hear the change a couple of times, and then I think on the 5th go, one of the bells is going to not chime. The clapper's going to break, and there's not going to be a sound. And all I need from you is to tell me which bell stopped working. And the whole point of this exercise is to make you listen and count at the same time. Now, it might be that you already do this, which is fantastic. You should find this quite easy. But if you haven't been, understandably, if you're quite new to ringing, there's so many things going on, but the idea is to try and encourage your brain to count along and to listen and count the bells as you ring them to keep track of where you are and the rhythm around you. So here's the example. I'll do it with you. So I'm going to track along with the numbers and then see if I can spot which one falls out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think it was on 3 that I said 3, but no bell sounded. So on my booklet, or I would circle the number 3. I was moving the mouse there. I would do that myself if I had the booklet, scan my pen across as I'm going, and then I can stop my pen or pencil on the number. When I say the number but no bell sounds, I can leave my pen there. Now obviously being YouTube, you could then rewind the video if you're uncertain and play it again and double check. And then if you carry on the video, I'll tell you the answer and we'll move on. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. So, question 1. Off we go. Okay, so if you need to rewind the video, do that now. But if not, here comes the answer. It was the 2nd bell that failed. I think I said before on the 5th one, but I think it's the 6th row of music that it drops out, and it was the second bell on the 6th line. If you're not sure, go back, listen to it again. But if you are, then we'll carry on and we'll do question 2. Okay, so rewind if you need to, but otherwise, here comes the answer. It was the fifth bell that dropped out. Question 3. Okay, time to rewind if you need to, but if not, the answer was the first. The first sound dropped out. Now, interestingly, you might have noticed that these are not playing rounds, these are playing queens. So when I say the second and the fifth and the first, I don't necessarily mean bell number 2 or 5. I mean the position in the change. So the fifth sound was missing, yes, rather than bell number 5. I'm not expecting you to pick out which note is which, just which bell in the sequence is not sounding. Okay, question 4. No, try again. Here it is. Okay, and the answer to question 4, well done if you said it was the third bell sound that didn't sound. Okay, question 5. Okay, and the answer to question 5, it was the fourth bell sound. Now, as we go into question 6, we're going to have more bells, so this is going to be on 8. Now, it is harder to count to 8 than it is to count to 6. It seems bizarre saying that because we can all count to, as many as we like. But the difference is that the bells are going to be slightly closer together, because although we will take longer to ring 8 bells, we don't want it to be the same speed as 6, but just with more bells in the same rhythm. We sort of squeeze them together so they ring closer together. So you have to say the numbers in your head a little bit quicker, and you've got to say more of them. So it's just easier to get lost in it. But if you can do it on 8, then it will make on 6 easier. And there's questions later on 10, and if you can do it on 10, then it's easier on 8 and it's easier on 6. So it's always a good idea, especially ringing. If you've got enough bells, then ringing rounds on 10 is going to make your rounds on 8 easier, and your rounds on 8 is going to make your rounds on 6 easier. So it's a really good exercise when you can to ring on high numbers, or even just to listen to bells on high numbers and try and get that count going. Right, less rambling, more playing. Of question 6, here it is. Right, that was quite quick. If you need to rewind rather, and listen to that again, then now's your chance. But if you've done that and you're ready, then the answer for that one was the third bell sound is the one that dropped out. Okay, moving on to question 7, same thing, 8 bells. Okay, question 7 answer is the 7th vowel sound dropped out. Okay, question 8 is coming up now. Okay, time to rewind if you need to. If not, here's the answer. It was the 2nd vowel sound. Well done if you got that. Question 9 coming up. Okay, and the answer to question 9 was the 5th vowel sound. Last one on 8 vowels, question 10, and here it is. Okay, and the answer to question 10 was the 4th vowel sound. Now, if you thought that the ringing on 8 there was quite quick and close together, then it's going to be a little bit worse still on 10, I'm afraid. But what sometimes happens when you're on even more numbers is you don't need to say the word in your head. You might have been on the 8 going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's great if you can fit those sounds in. If it's going to go even faster and be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's quite hard to get all these numbers in. You just have to maybe say in your mind, in your internal monologue, as you're counting along, just even the first sound of the word, what, or something like that, so that you're just acknowledging the beat. And when you have that, it needs to be more than just dumpty 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 dump like that, because you need to know where you are in it. So you need some sound for each beat that refers to where you are in the change. But you don't need to try and cram the whole thing in. It's especially true when you get onto even higher numbers, when you're ringing on like up to 12, then 11 and 12 are quite long words to try and say in your head as you're counting along. So it can just be up to, it can be the sounds for 11 and 12. It's just something to, as long as your mind knows what it's talking about, it doesn't matter what you're doing to keep track of it, as long as you keep track. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So let's just move on to question 11. There's going to be 10 vowel sounds this time, so good luck. And here it is, question 11. Okay, so rewind if you need to, have a listen again, but if not, then we'll move on to the answer, which was the 3rd vowel sound was missing. Question 12, same thing. Here's the music. Okay, so rewind if you need to, but if not, if you said the 6th vowel sound was missing, you'd be absolutely right. Moving on to question 13. Okay, question 13, the answer was the 8th bell sound. 2 questions left. Question 14, here it comes. Okay, don't forget to rewind if you need to on that one. But if you've done that or you don't need to, then the answer was the 4th bell sound. Now, I've only got one question left. It's question 15, and here it is. Okay, and so the final answer is that the 1st bell sound was missing. It's actually really quite hard when it's either the first or the last bell that's slightly out of place, or in this case, missing, because especially if it's the first, you're waiting for that first sound to start counting. And really what you have to do is that the count in your head needs to be the thing that is keeping going, and you don't just wait and go, oh, okay, I'll wait for the sound. Oh, there it is, 1, 2, 3. But you're counting the rhythm, especially once that rhythm is established in the rounds, so that if it's the first one that's missing or late or whatever it might be, that you can still say, hang on a minute. It's really hard. That leading is a really hard thing to do because it's hard to judge that extra gap when you're not following somebody else. But there we go. Those are the answers. So well done. For surviving this far through. Obviously add up your score, see what you got. If there's anyone to listen to again, this is the joy of YouTube, you can just rewind the video and give it another go. If you're finding it hard to do those ones on 10, I wouldn't worry too much. They are tricky. Just go back and make sure you're happy counting 6 and 8. The rest of the course, it's mostly on 6. There's a couple of questions on 8. But hopefully doing those harder ones on 10 means that when you go back to the 6, it feels a lot slower and a lot easier compared to trying to get all those 10 numbers in. Okay, if you're still interested, then join us in video 2 for round 2, but for now, cheerio.